Hola, hola, hola. It's Charlie T back again with another video. As you see in the title, this content is in regards to me attending the Fan Expo Philadelphia, and this was actually my second time attending. What did you do to your hair? I love it. 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 Now, last year when I went, it was my first time. It was a gift from one of my good colleagues, my good sis, Jasmine. Shout out to her. Which is major for me because it was my first ever cosplay convention that I was attending, and I did intend to go in cosplay, in which I did kind of sort of, I did the best that I could within that moment, and if just, yeah, things didn't pan out the way I wanted to at that time with cosplay. And I could say the same for this year. However, things happen for a reason, whether we understand it or not. I ended up going with Gon from Hunter x Hunter, which is fantastic still nonetheless because it's one of my top 5 favorite animes. And as some of you are aware, I already cosplayed another character from Hunter x Hunter before, which is Hisoka, who is also on the back of in my background here on my wall. Last year, my first convention was the Fan Expo Philly, and then I went to another convention actually, which is where I got this shirt from. And now that I went all out. I did. Even though people did not get me correct, all but like 2 people. I was either a pimp named Slickback or Prince. Going to the convention this year compared to last year, I had a much more greater time only because I immersed myself into the experience. I said, I want to make sure I am wholeheartedly dedicating myself to like communicating with people and taking photos with people, asking to take photos of them and record, just because not only did I want to create content for the sake of this video, but just also in general for the sake of my actual experience. I really wanted to challenge myself, right? In which I feel like I was very successful. Last year, I will say, like, personally, I was very glad to have had the encounters with my cousins that I did not expect to be there. And this year, I knew a few of them were going to be there again. Granted, unfortunately, none of them were in cosplay this year, but it was understandably so. I was glad to, still get to see them, but I was already, like for this year, I was already very much so in I felt more in my element, I guess you can say, like, because I was in full cosplay this year, compared to going last year. And then I also was just more, you know, I don't know, I just wanted to make sure that I was more like in a space where I knew I was going to be comfortable, and I made sure that people would be able to approach me because I knew that with my cosplay, people would, recognize who I was. And, there's a huge fandom for it, right? And so with that, I was asked a lot to get pictures taken. And then outside of that, of course, I wanted pictures too. So some pictures I was able to have that were taken on my phone, and then others I wasn't, just because it was for the sake of for those people. I didn't I would have felt weird like asking like, oh, can you take it on my phone too, like of people that weren't even they were just fans of my cosplay, right? And not necessarily just me being in the moment, and so I also just, I don't know, it was just really, really nice to feel like this is something that now that I challenge myself and gone for the second time, I will be even more like better next time, or not even next time for this convention, the next convention I go to in general, right? We were taking baby steps. Prior to attending, I was able to set out my schedule, and like you go on the app, if you download it, there's a whole list of things that you're able to do. But for me, I wanted to make sure that I just stuck with schedule of things that I wanted to do in particular, and I did not want to go to every little thing because I wasn't a fan of every little thing, right? But the first thing that caught my attention was like cosplay with people of color, which I did not end up making because I was not able to locate it in time. Let's just say that it would have been nice to go to that. It also would have been nice to make the red carpet. However, I got sidetracked off of my schedule so many times. Okay. So yeah, from the first thing that caught my eye was the cosplay of people of color that I did not end up making. But then there was also red carpet for the cosplay, if you want to do that, which I really wanted to do because I wanted to get great photos. And then I didn't end up getting that. I was caught up in like making sure, like, I saw my cousins and everything. But not only that, like I was really just getting into these photos with different people. And it kind of like at first, I kind of was like, even though I was like in the moment of enjoying like seeing the vendors and everything, I kind of also was like, because of that I was in my own world, right? And so when people were like, excuse me, like there was an instance someone was like, excuse me, and I'm like thinking I'm in somebody's way, so I'm like shifting over and trying to move. They're like, no, you in the gong cosplay. And I turned around and I was like, oh, okay, you mean me, like you want my attention, and because they wanted a photo. And then there was another instance when someone literally said gong, and I'm like looking because there's a lot going on, so I'm making sure like, okay, who is somebody actually calling me, or am I, like, if you are calling me, am I looking the right way? Because look, like my brain is everywhere, like I'm in the moment, I'm trying to make sure I see everything, like, but at the same time I want to be aware, so it was a lot, but it was great. I remember, for the most part, like I was most definitely in character, or at least tried to be. Back to my schedule. So there were some game competitions or game tournaments happening in which I really wanted to observe more than like actually participate. But yeah, there wasn't really much space for that. There was only really space for if you were going to be a participant, and then like you can observe and then go forth in that, but not just be an observer. So like the space was really like small, unfortunately. So I was like, okay, it's all right. Like hang it up. I'll just attend to some of my other things that I wanted to do, which ended up being a K-pop dance event, set event, right? That was very much so fun. Unfortunately, because I had some things with me, I went down to that by myself, right? So and like nobody I knew like was with me. And so because of the fact that I had things like purchases on hand, and including also I had my bag to like to hold stuff and like my water and little snacks and stuff. I didn't want to just drop that and dance, right? It would have been great, it would have been grand, and I'm not saying that anyone would have stole my belongings. However, I don't put it past nobody. So I just was like, okay, I'll just record it, if anything. And which I did. It was so much fun to actually, at least still, I was like in my little corner, like, dancing a little bit, like, with my stuff in hand while recording. But, and even while I was recording, like, I was doing it in my own little corner. But it would have been great to, like, even better to go all out and be just part of it, with everyone else. Something that I made a purchase of, so beautiful, and I'm so excited to put on my wall. I have to reorganize my wall, by the way, because if you guys noticed from video I said before, I was going to post flow. I was going to place flow on my wall. I still have yet to do that. And that's just because I want to organize this properly. And I also kind of low-key want to frame. So yeah, but anyway, I had gotten this great work of art. Yes. The artist was so appreciative. She came back right before I had ended up leaving. Excuse me. Right before I ended up leaving, she had came up, and the person that I made the purchase with was actually her partner. And he was saying, oh, like, this is the actual artist. She created that. And so she was like, oh my God, you just bought my art. Like, you're my first buyer. And I was like, oh, wow. I appreciate this art so much. Thank you for creating it, for one. And for two, I am glad that, I'm your first buyer. It was just so ironic because she is a huge fan of Hunter x Hunter, and she had little keychains of it, and she also was just saying like how it was just a good luck charm for her. And so it was ironic that I was gone, and I purchased this Hunter x Hunter poster that she had made. And so just the fact that I was her first buyer too, and I was just like surprised, honestly, because she has wonderful art. And that's not to say that there wasn't other vendors that had great art either, because there was a lot of vendors there, I will say that. But yeah, I just hope that like even there after me that she had a lot of art purchased, because I know the space to rent out as a vendor is not cheap at all. But I will be posting down in the link below of her art, not only her Instagram and socials, but other socials as well of other artists and book manga creators and comic book creators. I just want to give a shout to them, because even though some of them I did not place a purchase with, I wanted to make sure I shared their not only work of art, but just, I wanted to make sure there were going to be a platform for them to where they would be able to have other buyers.
May I ask to see your tattoo? That one. I saw that one earlier. That
just... So I also enjoyed going to, it was an Idol Fest. I got there a little late only because, again, I got sidetracked. It was just a lot of other things I was doing. Yeah, I was just like, at one point, I wanted to say screw my schedule and just whatever. But at the same time, I was like, I did want to make sure there were certain things I, did do.
I love Mystery Science Theater. 3, 2, 1. That one? That's a good one.
I told you. Yeah.
I know, right?
It was a great time. I would definitely go again, whether that be FanExpo here in Philadelphia or another location. But I do want to go to another convention that I have not gone to before. Like that is most definitely a plan of mine. Whether that be this year or next year. Yeah, I want to do that. And again, it will definitely be in full cosplay, whether that be in a cosplay that I've done before or a different one. Also say I had made sure that I got snacks and water before I got to the event because I knew just based off of my last year's experience, there was a long line for the food there. There was like one like place where you can get actual food and like inside the convention center, but it's always like so packed like throughout the entire day until towards the end of the day. So, and also I heard they're kind of like an arm and a leg. So, while there's also places like outside of the convention that's not too far, you can guarantee those places are still going to be busy and packed, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get me a little snacky snack and some water from the dollar store. Like pack up my bags, you know, and then go. And so that I did this year versus last year. Like I learned the hard way last year. This year I did that. So then that away, by the time I leave, then I'm leaving and then I can choose to go out wherever I want to go to eat. So until then, the snacks and my bottles of water held me over. They held me down. Okay. I was good on it. But yeah, I will say there weren't any panels that I was interested in like that this year compared to last year. There were a lot of cancellations this year, unfortunately, compared to last year, but not sure if that still would have made a huge difference for me or not. Although I will also say again, I was more immersed in the my cosplay and like my encounters with people this year and less about the other activities. And I was more active with vendors too. So, you know, it was it kind of balanced out. That is all I have for you guys today. I bid you adieu until next time.
Where'd you go?